All right. Welcome everybody back to our favorite day of the week. It is the Friday Stack. We are live 5 days a week with the Daily Stack, of course, 12:30 p.m. Eastern every single weekday. But we come at you hot on Fridays, bringing the fun, bringing the giveaways, free Bitcoin, a little bit of news, and the best show in Bitcoin. We got Mount Rushmore. And today we are very grateful to be joined by the one and only number one pub key gremlin. We got Shams in the house. Shams, how you doing today, bro?
Doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk shop with you guys.
Yes, sir. We're gonna have some fun. And Avi, the man in Hoboken. How you doing?
Got my pin on, dude, from PubKey when we did our event. So that was fun. People were loving this yesterday. I was at the Digital Asset Summit in New York and got a lot of comments on this pin. So we got to produce more of those and we got a lot of giveaways today, but maybe we make this the next one.
We do got a lot of giveaways. Let's hit them up front. Of course, this is the Friday Stack. We give away 21,000 Bitcoin each and every single Friday. You go to 21rates.com/stack. Use the code word SHAMS, SHAMBS, and you will be entered into the running for today's giveaway. Again, that is 21rates.com/stack. Join on in the community. You'll have some fun, and we are going to have a good old time today. Avi, before we get started, though, tell us, what were the vibes at the Digital Asset Summit? Who did you meet, and were people bullish or not?
I went one day, to be fair, so I'll give some context there. I went the final day. Definitely less people than last year, I will say. And you kind of see this trend. I'm sure the same thing will happen at Bitcoin conference. But a lot of suits. I mean, Digital Asset Summit is a lot more suits than we typically see. And I will say the Sailor, I've seen Sailor talk now. I kind of made a joke about that yesterday. I saw him talk about STRC, but it was filled. They probably had 500-600 people in there. So it was a very popular discussion. A lot of new folks that have not heard about this product. It is one of the most innovative products in the space. And for finance folks that are used to making maybe 5%, even with the stable coins, we were talking about that. Had some good discussions about that, actually. If the Clarity Act does not go through, what that means for some of that institutional money that was getting that 5% yield potentially. Does that money then flow to STRC? Does that money then trickle down to Bitcoin? That was an Avi original thought there, Rob. So I do know Bitcoin somewhat, but it was good. Overall, it was really good. And then took the ferry back to Hoboken, and that was incredible. A beautiful day finally in New York City. We've had quite the winter here, and then I got off at the wrong stop. So I had another 25-minute nice walk back to Hoboken, but it was very nice overall. Overall, I'd give it it was a quality conference. Came for the day, met a bunch of friends that I've seen in the space, and so but we got to get a lot more people there. We need more people.
Yeah. It's a product of price, right? We're down 45%. Bitcoin taking a little bit of a beating this morning, as I think the market is waking up that this whole entire thing in Iran is not solved, and there's definitely some questions that need to be answered. But even such, there's a lot of oil infrastructure that is being hit, that has been hit, even in Russia. Like the number one oil port in Russia was hit by the Ukrainians this same week, right? So there's a lot of oil that's gone offline, and I don't think the market has really ingested that news fully yet. But before we get into the news topics, Shams, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? What do you do at PubKey, and why are you such a legend?
Yeah, so I was one of PubKey's first customers. So I went there back in 2023 to meet people for trivia, hence the semi-professional trivia player in my bio. But I'm known there for consuming and purchasing the most amount of whales. I've had 9 official whales over the course of the last couple of years. I do have a 10th unofficial whale that I gifted somebody. So one of the things I do with the whale now is I start to sign them, put a little TM, and then I give them out. So
a whale is a drink, correct?
Yeah. So it's $100 Bitcoin only drink.
Oh my God!
You get to keep the Pepe. You also get merch. So it's actually worth it. And back in the day, you would get a pin that was really cool. It was like a cigarette pack that said PubKey on it. So I had that pack on my backpack, but it broke off. So now it's just like taped into my wallet. But I used to give all those out too.
So you're a legend. You're an absolute legend over at PubKey.
And
Giving
then-
out $100 drinks, 9 of them, 10 of them, 10 whales.
Down payment on a house.
Yeah. And then I ended up, helping out with all the marketing. So a little bit of both, which is nice.
And we're super excited to have you on today because we are going to have a Mount Rushmore competition on the back half of the show of what grinds the gears of Bitcoiners. And you are sort of like a New Yorker, a classic New Yorker, a curmudgeon, right? Like anybody who spends enough time in New York becomes a curmudgeon. You know, you like the things you like and you hate the things you don't like. And we're going to get your opinion on what really grinds Bitcoiners' gears on the second half of the show. But again, just so I can give you the visuals here, 21rates.com/stack is where you sign up for the giveaway, 21,000 sats. Shams is the code word. All right, boys, let's get right into the news. Some big things happen on the interwebs that we need to talk about. First and foremost, we got Coinbase. Fannie Mae bring crypto-backed mortgages to home buyers. And of course, they say crypto, but what do they mean by that? They mean Bitcoin. Bitcoin and USDC are the only two quote-unquote cryptos that you can use to get a Bitcoin-backed mortgage with Coinbase. But this is a huge deal. I mean, Fannie Mae, right, of the financial crisis fame, they're back in action, of course, and they're doing Bitcoin-backed mortgages. Borrowers pledge Bitcoin or USDC as collateral to fund their down payment, allowing them to keep their assets intact and avoid a taxable event by spending them. The Coinbase Better Mortgages is structured as a conforming loan backed by Fannie Mae, meaning it carries the same protections and standards as a traditional mortgage. Coinbase said that the crypto-backed mortgages aimed at regular home buyers are as American as apple pie. So, Avi, want to get your first take on this?
I have a very hot take.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I was involved with this somewhat.
What?
Yes. Oh, no. Well, let me give the backstory. I had talked with, when I was at my previous company as a custodian, I was talking with Better Homes and we inspired them to start looking at this. So me and Sean Ristow was on that call too. So I kind of had some inspiration potentially for this, which is cool. But I don't remember, this was 2-3 years ago. So initially they did say no, but we started talking to them initially about doing something like this, not with Coinbase, but with Better Homes, which is pretty interesting. I think it's awesome. I mean, we were just talking with Milo, or we've been discussing with them. They've been kind of that first mortgage in the space. I think it's great. I mean, as a Bitcoiner, I think a lot of folks have been held on the sidelines in general, right? And you can't use that money traditionally for a loan. And maybe people are cash poor, but Bitcoin wealthy. This gives those folks now an opportunity to really dig in and buy their first home. I think it's a challenge across the board in our generation. With the mortgage rates being higher, but more so the prices of the homes actually being significantly higher in conjunction with that. This gives folks that do have a lot of Bitcoin on the sidelines an opportunity to show their overall worth, their net worth there. So, I love it overall. I think it's very interesting. I was digging in. So it's Bitcoin and stable coins, I believe, is the two currencies that you could use there. And what I found fascinating, I took a quick notes here, but no margin calls. So if Bitcoin does drop, the mortgage terms stay unchanged and no additional collateral is required. So I think it's another big movement, right? You're seeing this is the first time in the past year or so. The Genius Act, Clarity Act, Trump administration's, somewhat bullish now. They said they were much more, but in terms of digital assets and Bitcoin, this has got to be a big dub for the industry.
Shams, do you have any takes on this?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I have a lot of friends and colleagues that are just itching to, purchase a home, but they don't want to have any more capital, right? And they just want to use some Bitcoin for that loan or the mortgage. And it's like the perfect little step towards what I see in hyper Bitcoinization, where ultimately everything is going to be priced in Bitcoin and sats, but it's a step in the right direction. And it's also a way for the Treasury potentially to get budget neutral access to Bitcoin through Fannie Mae. So it's interesting. Will I partake, maybe not. I prefer just buying the house outright with Bitcoin one day, but it's a nice option for sure. And
Can you
won't
sell your house back? You know,
yeah, and
first
you
with
can collateralize.
back.
So yeah, some of the interesting details. Well, first they said Better Mortgages said that we would have funded maybe $40 billion more of customer demand over the past few years if they could have accepted crypto as down payment. So that's interesting. That shows why they are so gung-ho about this. A spokesperson for Coinbase said via email that the rates would be about a half a point to 1.5 percentage points higher, depending on the consumer profile than your regular mortgage. So that's something to keep in mind. But this is really interesting. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about this. The token-backed mortgages would be free of margin calls and top-ups, according to a press release. If Bitcoin drops in value, the mortgage terms remain unchanged and no additional collateral is required. Market movements alone never trigger liquidation. So I think that gives a lot of Bitcoiners some ability to rest easy in doing this. But then you get into the fine print, right? So say you want a $100,000 down payment, you need to put up $250,000 worth of Bitcoin in order to get that loan, right? So that is definitely something in the fine print. And then you had some other Bitcoiners say, of course, we're all conspiracy theorists, saying this is going to be the number one way that Bitcoiners are going to lose their Bitcoin. It's going to be locked up, and then there's going to be a housing crash, going to be stuck, and then boom, they take your Bitcoin. So, of course, I mean, we can all be conspiracy theorists, but overall, this is a positive move in the sense that Bitcoin is being respected on a whole nother level than it ever has been before. This passed the mom test. I actually got a call from my mom yesterday saying, hey, I heard on the radio that you can use Bitcoin as a collateral for your mortgage. So when you know that's really making waves when mom sends you a text or gives you a call talking about Bitcoin. So yeah, that was
tax advantages. So it's you're not getting taxed on that. You're not obviously when you're not selling it. So it's moving toward without the tax.
Yes. That's another big one. Cool. All right. In the next news topic, we have Hong Kong, the name of today's show. We have to talk about this. Beware traveling to Hong Kong with Bitcoin hardware wallets. Hong Kong has updated enforcement rules under the National Security Law of March 23rd, 2026. Refusing to provide passwords or decryption assistance to police is now a criminal offense, covering all personal devices, including phones, laptops, and likely hardware wallets. The rule applies to everyone in Hong Kong, including U.S. citizens, even if only transiting through the airport. Authorities also have expanded powers to seize and retain devices they claim are linked to national security investigations. Travelers are advised to understand the risks before entering or transiting through the region. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. This is the official website, of course, from the U.S. consulate in Hong Kong, warning people of this situation. What do you guys take on this? Do you think this is coming to more countries outside of the CCTP-owned Hong Kong?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty massive news, right? Because the whole beauty of Bitcoin is, you can put it on a hard drive with $1 billion, go across borders. So if other countries do that is a very alarming, I'd say, for Bitcoin, from at least that perspective of Bitcoin being able to like cross borders, have that, so maybe we'll create new devices that are more, that are more secretive or some sort, but it is, yeah. And I think this is scary, not good news, in my opinion, especially if more countries start to adopt this. This is a way for them to subtly like clamp down a little bit on Bitcoin.
Shams, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a little scary. It sets a pretty dangerous precedent, and kind of, Hong Kong and Macau, they're like still like shadow Chinese states, right? So you can see that influence kind of being prevalent, and it is scary. And kind of knowing that there's a Bitcoin conference that occurs annually in Hong Kong is disheartening. It's literally a honeypot for these officials. It behooved them to relocate for next year.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I was out there last year. I actually got pulled off the plane. Fun
Oh,
story.
really?
I don't know. I didn't have anything like illegal on me. But I had it, not a water bottle. It was my cell phone charger. I had like a portable cell phone charger that was at the bottom. But they like pulled me off the plane, brought me underneath the plane, and then they like had me unzip my bag. And I was like, "What the? Did someone put something in here?" You know?
And your pants.
I was fine. I mean, it wasn't a big deal at the end of it, but it was a little like my heart was beating. I was like, "Oh shit! Like, am I about to go to jail? Like, what did I do?" So not that crazy of a story, but it was. Hong Kong was great too, and yeah, this is gonna dissuade a lot of people, I think, of going.
And so again, I mean, they need to like target you. They're not just like taking everybody's devices, right? And they would need to have a reason, I guess, to say that they are taking it for national security reasons, but they can now, right? That's the big difference, is that all they have to say is that this is for national security. They can take any of your devices, and if you refuse to give them your passwords to open it up, you get a year in jail and $100,000 Hong Kong fine. Pretty
they
big.
take the Bitcoin then too? They can seize all the Bitcoin or no?
Well, I mean, like, they can do whatever they want, right? I mean, you're if it's national security reasons. And I mean, of course, this can be avoided. You can still go to Hong Kong with your Bitcoin by just memorizing 12 words in your head. That is your seed phrase, and you're able to plug that into any wallet and then access your Bitcoin, of course. There were some funny replies to this. People said, of course, you could write down the 12 words on a piece of paper, put it in a condom, and enter it into your body in some regard. And people actually said, "Oh, this is the way to get around the Hong Kong." That's pretty epic. Yeah. Who was this?
Stock's gonna go high.
from Cryptoholic. Yeah. It was pretty epic comic there.
Put a Neuralink chip in with if you can't remember the seed phrase.
Well, then they can just hack the Neuralink, and then they'll just take your 12 words that way, right? Dude, crazy stuff. Yeah.
You know.
But the world is getting crazy. Absolutely. And one thing I want to shout out is we are live. We're live on YouTube. If you guys want to catch this show later, every single day after we record live, we put out an edited version so you can watch it as like a podcast, take it with you, go anywhere. Go to youtube.com/dailystacklive. That's our handle there. We're building a great community. We're brand new, but we've got some subscribers. We've got 291 subscribers. But yeah, I mean, everything we create is put out nice and edited for your easy consumption. Of course, you can watch us live. We got the shorts going too. I mean, it's good stuff. We're really building something out here over on YouTube to make sure that you never miss an episode if you can't catch it live. Nice. All right, our third and final news story today is David Sachs, the man who is supposed to take Bitcoin on his shoulder and propel it forward in the halls of power, is no longer Trump's crypto and AI czar. So this looks bad as a headline. Reality of the situation is that his 130 days are officially up. You can be a special government employee for 130 days, and then you leave. Of course, these czar positions are executive branch appointees. They can only spend a limited amount of time in them. The question is, what did he accomplish? There were lots of high hopes when he was placed in this position. He's been a Bitcoiner for a long time. Of course, he's with Silicon Valley, and they love their shitcoins over there too. But there was a lot of hope, especially with the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. That executive order came out a year ago, March of 2025. Still no audit of the Bitcoin. The one big legislation that was passed during his tenure, of course, was the Genius Act that has to do with stable coins. And now there's the Clarity Act that is sort of on its last legs. Still a lot of internal bickering between the crypto industry and the banks as to how that is all going to play out. I think that if it's not done in April, it's not going to happen. Midterms are coming up, and the Congress doesn't know what the future holds, especially with this conflict in Iran and Trump's popularity not being too high. So want to get Sham's opinion on this David Sachs character. How was his tenure in your eyes as crypto czar?
Yeah, if you're looking at the price, it's underwhelming. When he first joined, it was, Bitcoin was at 100K on inauguration day pretty much, and then we've kind of just seesawed our way down to where we're at. But it's not entirely on him. There was way too much gridlock in Congress. We had the government shutdown. And sure, the Genius Act was a nice thing to get situated, but I'm afraid that there's too much of a focus on stablecoin legislation and making stablecoins like prominent in the space. And I have fears about stablecoins like being like a Trojan horse for central bank digital currency. And it sounds like a nicer way to say central bank digital currency. So I'm kind of keeping my eyes on it. And one of the things when we go into the Mount Rushmore segment, I'll go into greater detail there. But overall, he did what he could. But he was kind of just hamstrung by the bureaucracy.
Yeah, I would say I have a few angles here. Number one, he was crypto and AI, so he did withdraw Biden era AI restrictions, which opened it up and was very helpful. Granted, he's got a lot of AI investments, a lot of crypto investments that he was able to like legally get around. But if you guys listen to the All In podcast, he did make a call to end the war. So a little conspiracy angle, because he could have re-signed, actually. I was just looking that up. They technically could have redone it with him. But I wonder if Trump was like, hey, you can't be publicly saying to end this war while you're on part of the administration. So I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I'm sure he's probably happy to get out. There's a lot, like when you're working with the government, I think he had to like sell $200 million worth of Bitcoin or something to get in. So I don't know. I've been a Sachs fan here and there. Like I go back and forth with all those guys on the All In podcast. It was my favorite podcast back in the day when they were like talking just stocks, but now they've gotten very political and it's changing quite a bit. But I'd give them like the price of Bitcoin is obviously down, but I'd give him like a B maybe or B minus overall. He did get some of the things through, I think more from the AI side, of course, but Genius Act, Clarity Act potentially coming. But yeah, I agree with you. I think there's no secret. I think it's 190 countries or 185 countries that are developing CBDCs. So that is always a fear of mine as well, that is secretly being drawn in.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right that the All In podcast fell off super hard as soon as he joined the Trump administration. That used to be an amazing pod, but then they all just became.
Now they're all doing like individual pods too.
Yeah.
Things. It has. I've seen a lot of comments too in the Spotify that people are like, "Bring back the old pod," but now they're all coming over to us, so we can benefit. One man's trash, another man's trash.
You could say he didn't resign so he can buy his Bitcoin back that he had to sell.
I've heard he wants to host the show potentially, so that was part of the reason, but we might not let him.
Yeah, it's Saxy Poo. I mean, Predator was giving him a super hard time. He's a Bitcoiner, I think, this Sachs guy, but I think he's better off, I guess, out of the administration. He's anti-war, right? He was super against us being involved in Ukraine, and I'm glad that he's not pro this Iran conflict. But yeah, maybe if you talk about that as not being pro in the administration.
The former CEO of our other co-host company with Zenefits. Jody had worked at Zenefits. So
okay.
Interesting stories. He would have been good to have on the show. But if David Sachs wants to come on the show, it'd be fun to hear from the horse's mouth if we can get him somehow. Any of your listeners that know him, I'll take him on the show. If you don't,
we'll take him. All right, nice. So yeah, that wraps up the news. And before we get into Mount Rushmore, we got to talk about our good friends over at Rhino. Rhino Bitcoin is doing something brand new, because before, getting access to all your Bitcoin financial services in one place was slow, clunky, scattered across all these different platforms. Well, Rhino is changing that. Rhino is a next generation Bitcoin banking app designed to handle all of your needs in one place. Of course, you can buy Bitcoin with some of the lowest fees anywhere, more sats for every dollar. Make payments over the Lightning Network, instant, near zero fees. And of course, you can send cash globally, fast and easy over Bitcoin rails to friends or family around the world. And you got your DCA program, set up automatic savings so you stack sats on your schedule and build wealth over time. And this is just the beginning. Soon you'll be able to pay bills, make direct deposits, and borrow against your Bitcoin and save for retirement. So much stuff is happening on the Rhino app, all in one place. And another thing I want to tell you about, of course, you should go to rhinobitcoin.com, download the app, use the code word Bitcoin News. One word Bitcoin News. You get $10 of free Bitcoin in your account just for getting started. And another really cool thing that they just got going, what I got to talk about here, let me take down this video, is this thing. They got this thing called Sats Drop. You go to drop.rhinobitcoin.com. Every single day, you get 3 new drops, and you're able to drop the Plinko ball into the things down below. Let's see. Okay, let's see how it goes. Oh, Shams, what do you think I'm going to get here?
There needs to be a TM option, but 500 sats.
500 sats? Oh, I'm going for the middle. Oh, could this be a big one? Good. Oh, broke my heart right at the end. But next time, you get three drops every single day. Super easy way to get free Bitcoin. There's not many ways to get free Bitcoin these days. The faucets are all dead. The wheel on Fold isn't as performing like it used to. This is the best way to go out, get free Bitcoin. They're running it throughout until the end of the Bitcoin conference. So over the next month, this Sats Drop is live. Go to drop.rhinobitcoin.com right there on the screen. Get your free Bitcoin, guys. That's what's going on. All right, cool. And of course, we got our giveaway. You can tell Avi's mind is turning. Oh, yeah, Avi really liked that.
He likes to talk a lot of smack while he's
yeah, from the cheap seats. From the cheap seats.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, before we got to talk about FTX saying he was going to take over. So the news came across and FTX retweeted it. And he said, let me try to pull this up, actually.
I got it.
All right. He said that he wants to put his name in the bucket to take over the crypto czar, which is, I chuckled. I was like,
oh, wow. SPF.
Him and Elizabeth Holmes, are they not in jail? Like, how are they getting Twitter access? I don't understand.
He definitely is in jail. He's telling his buddies on the outside to tweet for him. That's how he's doing it. Dude, he's sucking up to Trump so much.
Elizabeth Holmes, though, which is completely different from what we're talking about. She's tweeting all the time. I don't understand it.
Is she locked up still?
Maybe she's out. But
yeah, rumor has it he'll go carnivore if he gets pardoned.
Dude, he'll do anything. He had this whole 10-point plan to how to win back public sympathy, and part of it on this list before he went to prison was become a Republican, right? Go on Tucker Carlson and become a Republican. And he did go on Tucker.
Yeah.
Yes, he did, from prison. And that got him in a lot of trouble, I think.
He was giving a lot of money to the Democrats back in the day.
Yeah. Well, they were playing both sides. He was giving a lot to Democrats, and then Ryan Salame, his right-hand man, was giving it to the Republicans, right? So they were trying to do it all, but now he's obviously making a giant grift move towards Republicans.
He's the best VC of all time, though.
He is the best VC.
Yeah, turned out and say, I think they had Anthropic, they had a bunch of different stocks.
Anybody could do that with stolen money, right?
Benevolent billionaire.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get right into this. This is the Friday Stack. We are doing our favorite game, Mount Rushmore. Today's subject is what grinds the gears of Bitcoiners. We got Shams on the show. He is a New Yorker. He loves to talk smack, and there are things that make him just so pissed off.
Yeah.
He's a Bitcoiner, and so we're going to play a little game. We're going to rank them. Who can make the best list of things that piss off Bitcoiners? Okay. Shams, you get pick 1 of 1. What do you choose as the number one thing that grinds the gears of Bitcoiners?
Yeah. So for me, number 1 is paper Bitcoiners, suit coiners.
Suit coiners. All right. Well, then give your reason, dude.
But they're more worried about fiat gains, and they're more fiat maxis than Bitcoin maxis. So as a toxic Bitcoin maximalist, just seeing everyone striving for yield, and trying to pretty much finagle the plebs and extract as much value from the plebs as possible kind of is something that I used to meme pretty heavily back in the FTX days as well. So yeah, so certainly number one for me is the treasuries, like paper Bitcoiner, setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, 2025 was the year of the paper Bitcoin mania, paper Bitcoin summer. It was so hot, so huge. A lot of new people in the space got onboarded onto Bitcoin treasury companies before they actually were able to get their own Bitcoin and withdraw it off the exchange and hold it in cold storage. Those principles that we hold so dear here, the things that make Bitcoin different from every other asset. You miss that when you just own a stock of a Bitcoin treasury company. I do think that the tide has receded and that the sort of the shine has gone. There will only be a few true winners in the space. I don't think they're going away completely. They do provide a role, but I think that as long as the new people come in and they're able to get the true Bitcoin education of why Bitcoin is so special, so different, and actually provides an exit from this whole entire mess that we find ourselves in, then we'll be all right. We'll be all right as a community. But understandable. Your pick, one of one. Avi, any comments?
Yeah, it is annoying that but I also do see it as a gateway drug, like you were just talking about. It brings people into it. For example, like I had a bunch of money in my IRA. I wasn't gonna sell money in my IRA and then go buy more Bitcoin. I was able to buy IBIT, and still get some sort of
exposure.
Exposure. Thanks for my brain fart there. But yeah, it is obnoxious, especially when, because a lot of the times they'll have a ton of money and they can just go buy a bunch of Bitcoin right before, which kind of goes into what mine is as well, is people, the Bitcoin stories. And people may love this, but you go to these conferences and you try to keep up with the Joneses or keeping up with the Satoshis, basically. There's always some dude with a lot more. And like the people, it's probably shouldn't be something that makes me mad, but it's always like, damn, some gamer kid like in his basement bought 1,000 Bitcoin and I did not. So it's jealousy probably.
That's you. Okay.
It's more of a jealousy standpoint. And then I get upset always. I sold 3 Bitcoin to pay off my tax. We talked about this with Arch Lending, who is our sponsor. So thank you, Arch Lending, /Daily Stack. But I did sell 3 Bitcoin to pay off my taxes in 2017, and I'm still upset about that.
Oh wow! So that's your thing.
Jealousy is grinds my personal gears.
When you say yes, I mean part of the Bitcoin culture, of course, is that you don't really talk about how much Bitcoin you have, right? Like you're just like, no matter if you have 0.01 or 0.1 or 1 or 10 or 100, we're all Bitcoiners if you understand the ethos and the principles of why we are here, what we're doing, and what this can mean for the world. So yeah, when there are people who go out there and flaunt how much Bitcoin they have, that is kind of annoying. I agree.
I should have made it the guy from the bar who goes, "Oh, I bought the fuck out of that thing." We're like, "All right, so what do you got? Like 50 Bitcoin?" He's like, "Nah." I was like, 1 Bitcoin, and he goes, like 0.1 Bitcoin. He's like, good start. We'll keep it at that. But
we'll keep it at that. Nice. Yeah. Because there was this one dude who's been showing up at these Bitcoin conferences, and he wears this like glittery mask, and he's surrounded by security, and he's just trying to flaunt like how much Bitcoin he has. Like he doesn't talk to people, he just like sits by himself. Super weird, awkward, not a fan of that. Whoever that dude is, I'm not your fan. So yeah, go have fun sitting by yourself behind security.
I've seen that guy. He was in Hong Kong.
Makes sense. All right, I get to pick, and I am gonna go with. We've been seeing this a lot this last year, and it's not making me feel good. Peter Schiff gloating. We've been able to dunk on Peter Schiff for over a decade. He was offered Bitcoin in the very earliest of days. He could have bought it for under $1. Max Kaiser is his good friend, or they were back in the day when they were both hard money, precious metal advocates. Then Max Kaiser told him about Bitcoin. He ignored it. And Peter Schiff has been grumpy, calling Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme since the day he found out about it, having missed out on possibly hundreds of millions of dollars worth of wealth. Well, Peter has been having a good time in 2025 as gold ran up from 2,700 over 4,500 and now is at those levels today. Great run, epic run for gold, adding over $10 trillion to its market cap. But you really hate to see Peter having a good day. And he's been having a good day, a bunch of them as of this last 6 to 12 months. And it just pisses me off. I don't like to see that. I don't like to see Peter Schiff having a good time. He's the most dunkable character in this whole entire space. So, Peter, this one's for you. And because it's a snake draft, I get to go twice. And if I had to pick what makes Bitcoiners so mad, it's got to be this. I'm new to Bitcoin and I'm here to fix it. That happens all the time, every single cycle. You have people who finally found out what Bitcoin is, and they think that they have all the answers. Super annoying. You see it every cycle. These people don't know what is going on, but they proclaim to have all the answers. And it's so funny that so many of these suggestions and ideas that they have been discussed ad nauseum over the last 17 years. If you just go back to old Bitcoin talk forums, they have really covered all these ideas before, but you'll never forget the finance guy who comes in and thinks that he has the answer to fix Bitcoin or make it better, improve it in some way. So Peter Schiff gloating and new to Bitcoin, here to fix it are my two things that I really don't like.
I got a good one. The French government.
Okay.
They publicize all the data points of basically exposing who has Bitcoin. And that's why there's so many wrench attacks in France. But they make that public, and then criminals can just use that and hack into that basically and go find these people and use a wrench. You know, the wrench attack is when they go and kidnap or they'll beat up or they'll, force someone to give them the Bitcoin. So I'm going to go with the French government is very annoying and criminal. I think it's a criminal act by them exposing, who has that. So crypto wrench attacks, I just pull up some data too. Jumped 75% in 2025. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
With 19 reported in France. So that is not good. So French government, I'm probably not allowed to go to France now, but that would be mine.
So I don't think that they actually report it. It's actually, I think a Nordic country like Sweden are the ones that actually report this information with your name and your address and whatnot. But what happened in France is that they want to collect this information. They want to know every single year how much euro worth your Bitcoin stack is. But there was actually a tax agent in France that was selling this information to criminals who would then go out and do these wrench attacks. But yeah, number one wrench attack country in the world by far, France. Get your act together. Why? I think there are numerous guesses as to why the wrench attacks are so bad in Gaul, but no definitive proof as to hard reasons why. So yeah, Lop, he keeps track of all this. Go follow his work to see the latest and greatest in wrench attacks. Lots of kidnappings, fingers getting chopped off, crazy stuff happening over there. French government, treat your Bitcoiners better or they're going to leave.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. That's actually a good transition. I think ours always transition into each other's. Mine is when they call Bitcoiners criminals. Especially like money laundering. Yet, when it comes to like the fiat realm, like over $3 trillion was used for illicit like crime. So the scale and scope of how cash is used versus Bitcoin, but it seems like they only focus on Bitcoin mostly because like it's a rival currency monetary unit, and they fudded samurai wallet guys, threw them in jail, and now they're they're trying to say you can mix your coins, which is it's kind of what's that? What it's like a double standard there. So yeah. So Bitcoin
100%. Yeah, no.
for sure.
Bitcoin's a tool, right?
Mhm.
A knife is a tool. A gun is a tool. Who it's used by and what it's used for is up to the individual who makes use of it. So yeah, saying that Bitcoin is for criminals, well, money is for criminals too, right? Yeah, trillions and trillions of dollars of criminal activity are done in dollars on a yearly basis. Bitcoin is a tiny, 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 tiny fraction of that, and yet we get the bad rap. Yeah, I agree. That is extremely, extremely annoying.
And then the next one is the environmental fraudsters, like the Greenpeace. Last Bitcoin conference, they had the little skull on the conference floor, but saying that it impacts the environment without taking into account that it actually stabilizes the power grid. Texas would have probably had another severe outage if it didn't have a robust Bitcoin mining setup this past winter. So yeah.
The people, I was just gonna say, the people writing these are using probably AI to write this. And the irony is most of them kind of shut up after AI came in and all the investments came in, because AI is way more energy. But
and the water FUD too. For AI is the water consumption FUD.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there was an article that said that like every Bitcoin transaction consumes like 10 swimming pools worth of water. Like these people are absolutely insane, right? I mean, they really don't know what they're talking about. And it is funny how the environmental FUD has completely disappeared ever since Larry Fink went from ESG to Bitcoin ETFs and AI. So I think he's really the mastermind behind a lot of this stuff. There was, of course, the skull of Satoshi, as you were talking about, that was free. That was put on display at the Bitcoin conference last year. We had won that battle. We turned that was supposed to be an emblem of Bitcoin's environmental degradation, but has been turned into a mascot of the Bitcoin community. And we actually were able to get it at the Vegas conference last year as a sign of Bitcoiners just winning. We turned those things against us, such as the term maximalist, right? That was a derogatory term made up by Vitalik Buterin against us Bitcoiners, and we came and made it endearing, and we love it, right? So we are able to flip these things on their head and turn evil things against us into positive things for our community that just bring us together even more. All right, Avi, what do you got?
I'm going to bring this to, I'm trying to describe what I want to say. I was going back and forth between like my dad and my group chats, basically like when price goes down, like the naysayers, the no coiners that are talking shit based off price action. So my dad I remember when I bought it, I think it was 2,400 or so. He's like, this is Beanie Babies. It's Beanie Babies. And he's maintained, I'll just go with my dad. He's maintained that Bitcoin is just Beanie Babies, despite the fact, and he's like, what's that at? Is that still around? And I'm like, it's at 120,000, Dad. So anytime the price drops, those, your group chats light up. How's Bitcoin, Avi? How's Bitcoin, Avi? And then they shut up as soon as price goes back up. But I would just say my dad, group chats, you guys all probably have friends out there that are no coiners that will come to you and make the announcement that Bitcoin's done as soon as the price goes down. So.
Oh, 100%. So
I do love my dad, though. He's a good guy.
Mr. Avi's dad is awesome, but his takes on Bitcoin are not.
Yes.
It is super annoying when people know that you're into Bitcoin and they only talk to you about it when they can sort of rub it in your face that it's down a little bit, right? Even though this thing has gone from $0 to 65,000, 66,000 right now over the course of 17 years.
Part of it's my fault. So like I'm the opposite end. So as the price goes up, I'm all over my group chat. I'm like, you guys should have fucking bought Bitcoin, dude. And then what they'll do is they'll scroll up 6 months, reply with a clown face or something. And so part of it is self-degrading there. But
yeah, it's the curse of being a Bitcoiner. Yeah. All right. My next one is sort of along the lines of Sham's number one pick, but it is the people who say they like blockchain, not Bitcoin. You hear this a lot from the titans of finance, whether it's the head of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, or the head of Fidelity. They love the idea of blockchain, but not Bitcoin. Whereas in reality, blockchains aren't that useful for anything outside of a decentralized money like Bitcoin. You can create a database is a lot more simpler, a lot more efficient than say a blockchain, which is really it's burdensome and redundant on a reason, right? Because it solves the Byzantine generals problem because you're not trusting all the other actors in the network, and this thing is a way to prove who owns what, when, and over time. There's a perfect record of it all. Whereas these finance people just they love this blockchain technology, but not Bitcoin. Well, it's because Bitcoin might put them out of their job in a couple of years, whereas blockchain is a way for them to get more fees off of things like tokenization and whatnot. So really grinds my gears when I hear these people say blockchain, not Bitcoin. Yeah, well, Bitcoin's the original blockchain, you dummy. All right. And then do you have any comments on that, Shams? What do you think about that? Blockchain, not Bitcoin.
Well, I had one here, like, the confusing Bitcoin and crypto.
Yeah.
I had a similar vibe. Yeah, everything's blockchain technology. Bitcoin is a blockchain, but yeah, it's more of a protocol.
Same guy wrote this, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Blockchain is Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, but yes,
Not wrong.
Yeah, Bitcoin is a blockchain for sure. So these people need to understand. Shout out to Crypto for Living 971. Before we get into our last line here to round out the Friday stack, again, I want to shout out. Go to 21race.com/stack. Enter the word Shams as the code word, and you can be part of the 21,000 sat giveaway. We'll do that later in the afternoon so that everybody has a chance to get their entries into the competition. Watch us on YouTube. We want to grow our YouTube community, youtube.com/dailystacklive. Huge. And of course, go to shout out to Rhino, drop.rhinobitcoin.com. Win some free Bitcoin there. And now for me, I'm gonna be tough out there. It's the sellouts, dude. People who were once Bitcoin maximalists, and then they think that they can make more money somewhere else, So they harvest this audience saying, I love Bitcoin. And then at some point they go, so buy my shitcoin. We've seen it time and time again. People who say that their star will continue to rise without Bitcoin. It's hard to see because when someone gets into Bitcoin and they grow an audience and they espouse the principles that we so deeply believe in, and then they go out and sell out for a quick buck, it's hard to watch and it makes you mad. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to make their own choices, and that is just a natural part of being in a market. People are going to jump and try to make more money on different things, even though we know that Bitcoin is going to win it all. All right, that's my list. Avi, what you got?
Yeah, I'd say mine's kind of aligned with what you're saying. Like to yours is like the Bitcoin tourists that pop in, pop out. They come back loud on crypto Twitter. Mine's going to be crypto Twitter, which is an irony here because we're on crypto Twitter as well, but we're Bitcoin Twitter, I would say. And I had to mute NFT. I had to mute a few words like NFTs. I had to mute like altcoins, all these different coins, and it's all bullshit. Like we've gotten so many people reaching out, be like, hey, do you want to buy followers? Do you want to buy comments? Do you want to buy, so that exists. And it's so obnoxious seeing, like, you can tell, you can tell AI slop all the time. And it's like, great job. Good work. It's just like these comments that are coming over and it makes, the people that are like us that are really trying, really pushing it every single day. It just, it overwhelms and saturates kind of the market. And then people that are not Bitcoiners see that on crypto Twitter, and they then think that is, what Bitcoin represents, and they bucket it all together. So the obnoxious people on crypto Twitter that are buying followers and buying comments and all of that stuff would be my, that grinds my gears.
That grinds his gears. I agree, dude. Yeah. Crypto Twitter is such a grift. And then these people, they hawk these things and then they rug pull and then delete the tweets, and somehow they get away with it, right? There are so many people who are able to just rape their audience and are able to continue posting nonstop. It's crazy. All right, Shams, bring us home. What do you got?
Yeah. So my last pick here, the people that are constantly debating core and knots. They just it's gotten to the point where it's so annoying. Just run the reference client that you want, or don't run a node at all. Like it's getting to the point where we may actually see a hard fork because of how separated they are, especially around BIP 110. And I mean, I'll welcome the airdrop, not gonna lie, but yeah, it's just a lot of back and forth, a lot of old
Quite civil war in a way.
Yeah, a lot of old, like I'd say Bitcoin Twitter heroes are being slain. You have Huddle and Not and Adam Back going at it. You have all these guys kind of like, it's almost like the Avengers, but like fighting each other. And it's a little disheartening, but personally, I run like an older version of Core, but I'm learning LibBitcoin,
Nice.
which Eric Bosco maintains. But yeah, it's certainly annoying to see this sort of like back and forth, and it's getting a little too extreme. I mean, we've seen it. Last time we saw something like this was honestly with the block size wars.
Yeah, the fight has been going on for well over a year now.
Mm-hmm.
It does feel as if it's fractured the community in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, Bitcoin is it's about personal freedom, right? You can run what you want to run as long as it makes consensus rules. Then it's kosher by the protocol, and it will go through. Filters, I don't know, they don't really seem to fix the problem, but I think that we need to have it. It is a good thing to have more clients, right? I think Samson Mao and Parker Lewis and Jimmy Song, they just introduced Production Ready, which is it's a fork of Core, but it's supposed to be more conservative and go slower and push towards ossification eventually of the Bitcoin protocol. At the end of the day, I think, people should be able to run what they want to run, and more clients, the better. As long as you make consensus rules, then that's what makes Bitcoin go. So yeah, it's been a long, drawn out fight here, and people are pretty dug in their heels. September is when they're supposed to activate this BIP 110. Let's see what happens, if there's actually a hard fork or not. Be interesting to see. But yeah, that's our list, ladies and gentlemen. That's what grinds our gears. I think, who do you think? Shams, you won because you're the guest. But between Avi and I, whose list do you prefer?
He hates my dad.
You
met my dad.
I don't know. I never met your dad, but my dad was similar until I got him to buy Bitcoin. I think Rob, mostly because the sellouts and suit corners part, the Peter Schiff gloating, I was very much so like him before I got into Bitcoin. I was a gold bug. So yeah,
it's close to home.
Rob. Yeah, it's closer to home.
I hear you, dude. Well, I don't think anybody can hate your dad as much as Grant Cardone hates Jody's dad. There we go. Harkening back for any Daily Stat community members who saw our interview with Grant Cardone, and Grant just dunking on Jody's dad non-stop. The dunking did not stop. Cool. Nice. Well, we did it, boys.
All right, we have Bitcoin. If anyone does not have a ticket to the Bitcoin,
ho.
We gotta talk about that quick too. Well,
yes, we do. Well,
my
bad.
No, it's all right. We got a little technical. You got too excited. Let's try this now. You're off the stage.
Back.
All right, we're back. Yes. So if anyone is interested, why don't we comment below if you guys are watching?
Well, no, I think people who sign up for the Daily Stack for today's giveaway will draw it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they may not be able to make it to Vegas would be my only concern.
Well,
we'll go with that. All right. You won. You make the rules, Rob. So make sure to sign up. We'll do it one more time here. It's 21rates.com/stack. And we have this fun wheel where we will be announcing the winner of the Daily Stack.
Yeah. So the big news If you win this week's daily stack with code word Shams, you not only get 21,000 sats, but you get a ticket to the Bitcoin conference. We're all going to the Bitcoin conference end of April. We're going to be there in Vegas. We're talking Eric Trump, Michael Saylor, Jack Mahlers, everybody, all these Matts, all these people named Matt are going to be there.
You're speaking, right?
I think I'm going to have some official function there. Hopefully, I'd like to be on the news desk. That'd be fun. I'm getting all this practice in here. It'd be great to.
I'll give you a shout out. I saw some summer camp, Satoshi summer camp.
Yes.
What's that?
Yes. Camp Nakamoto,
There it is.
June 18th through 21st, going on a little island up in New Hampshire. It's like summer camp for Bitcoiners. It's going to be super awesome. There, I will be speaking. We're talking about Tom Luongo, Efrat, Fenixon will be speaking there as well. Anders, great community. We're going to have the Cattleman's Feast. So much fun stuff coming. So yeah, April, Vegas, June. We got Camp Nakamoto as well as Prague. All these great things coming up. It's going to be a great summer. I'm looking forward to it, baby.
This looks cool. Hold on, let's pull it up for 2 seconds because that is pretty cool. There we go. Look at that.
Camp Nakamoto.
Dude. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Bringing up the whole fam. Driving up from Jersey up to New Hampshire. Should be a good time. All right. Well, we got one more shout out we got to do. Avi, would you like to do the honors?
No, because I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest.
Well, then I will, because we got some good friends over at Arch, and they are the world's #1 place to get a Bitcoin-backed loan. If you're listening to this, you did the hard part. You stacked Bitcoin. You weathered the storm. But life happens. You got some big opportunities, new house, taxes, what have you. And selling Bitcoin doesn't feel good. So that's where Arch comes in. Think of it like a flexible line of credit with rates starting as low as 8.5% APR. Borrow what you need, repay anytime, only pay interest on what you use, all without triggering a tax event. The best part, the Bitcoin stays yours. Arch has a strict no rehypothecation policy. Go to Arch Lending, archlending.com/daily stack. And you get 1% off your interest rate. Huge. That is huge. So you need to access some liquidity. Arch are your friends. They are trusted. They are loved. They are really doing it much better than anybody else in the space. Shout out to them.
Yeah. And I just, I go to 21rates.com. If you click on news, I actually just wrote a write-up on their perpetual income. They work with Mark Moss as well for that product they have, as well as the tax shield. So the whole idea of Bitcoin is you don't want to sell it, right? And this is a way to continue to not only stack more Bitcoin, but also not have to pay a huge tax bill. So I did a little nice write-up yesterday or 2 days ago, actually it was. So check it out, 21rates.com/news. You will see that there. And everyone have a great weekend, right?
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't put taxes on the Mount Rushmore of things that Bitcoiners don't like.
Well, we don't sell.
Yeah. We don't sell. We don't sell.
And then we're gonna do another stack and sip. Do we have a date for that yet?
We're gonna have another event hopefully in April at PubKey, and if not April, definitely May. But stay tuned, and we'll keep you posted as to what is coming up. It'll be on the second half of April if it is coming. So we'll keep you updated with all that information. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This is our favorite show of the week, the Friday Stack. We are live every single day, Monday through Friday, 12:30 p.m. We do it big. We do it great. We're making the best show, best community in Bitcoin. Join us on YouTube. Join us on X. Follow us. We love you. Tell us what you think, and we'll try to make it happen. Everybody, it's been great. Shams, you're the man. I'll see you at PubKey.